The film opens 17 years earlier at a hidden InGen facility on Isle St. Hubert. A scientist, Williams, enters a containment unit where he and his colleagues are creating mutated dinosaurs. Unfortunately, Williams was eating a Snickers bar, and the wrapper gets sucked into the door, causing a containment malfunction. This sets loose the Distortus Rex, and Williams is unable to escape the containment unit before the D-Rex makes a meal of him. 5 years after the dinosaurs made it back onto the mainland, the creatures have started to die out due to the Earth's current climate, and people have generally gotten over the hype. The surviving dinosaurs exist in tropical locations around the equator, where humans are forbidden from traveling. Pharmaceutical rep Martin Krebs of ParkerGenix is stuck in traffic since an Apatosaurus is dying in the middle of the street. Krebs is met by Zora Bennett, a former military covert ops expert. He had contacted Zora for an extraction job, so he brings her to a closing dinosaur museum to meet paleontologist Henry Loomis to discuss the goal. Krebs wants to travel to Isle St. Hubert and retrieve samples from the Mosasaur, a Titanosaur, and a Quetzalcoatlus, all for the purpose of using their DNA to create medical drugs that can save millions of lives. Zora, Henry, and Krebs travel to Paramaribo to meet with the team's leader, Duncan Kincaid, who previously worked with Zora and lost a mutual friend during one of their missions. The rest of their team includes another old colleague, Bobby Atwater, plus Nina and Leclerc. Duncan makes Krebs agree to his terms before going forward with the mission. The team discusses what is at stake, as well as the morality between possibly killing the dinosaurs. Somewhere along the Atlantic Ocean, Reuben Delgado is on a boat with his daughters Teresa and Isabella, plus Teresa's boyfriend Xavier. Reuben dislikes Xavier because he is smug and lazy, but Teresa wants her father to see the good in him. The boat is then bumped by the Mosasaur, causing it to capsize. Xavier just barely escapes getting eaten, and Reuben begins to radio for help. The team finds the family after Duncan hears their distress call and brings them on board. They encounter a pack of Spinosaurs circling the waters, as they are helping the Mosasaur for hunting. Bobby is the first one to get pulled away by a Spinosaur's teeth. Teresa tries to radio for help, but Krebs struggles with her to get the radio, and she falls overboard after Krebs refuses to help her. Xavier jumps in after her, followed by Reuben and Isabella. Zora goes ahead and tries to get a sample, but the Mosasaur swims really fast and also bumps into the boat and tries to eat Zora. She manages to shoot it with the dart containing the vial, and once it collects its sample, it shoots itself off the Mosasaur and parachutes back to the crew. After escaping the creatures, Duncan crashes the boat onto the shores of Isle St. Hubert. As the crew is trying to get themselves and their equipment off the boat, Nina is dragged to her death by a Spinosaur. Zora, Henry, Duncan, Krebs, and Leclerc continue navigating the island before they encounter the Titanosaurs. Henry gets emotional as he gets close to them while Zora manages to acquire a sample. Henry also tells Zora that he thinks it would be a better idea to not. The Delgados also move on their own trying to find a village, or anyone that can help. Reuben begins to see a more vulnerable side of Xavier, as he believes that only Teresa sees the good in him. Xavier goes to pee and is stalked by 2 raptors, but a Mutodon descends and scares one off before carrying the corpse of the other one away. Meanwhile, Isabella finds a baby Aqualops and names it Dolores before adopting it. The following morning, the family keeps moving forward until they come across a river. Dolores runs away in fright, and Teresa goes to investigate. A dinosaur corpse is torn apart, and she finds that the reason was a sleeping Tyrannosaurus Rex. The T-Rex wakes up and begins to chase after the family, but they find a raft and start to get away. Isabella nearly gets eaten, but the family manages to escape. The team scales a cliff to find the Quetzalcoatlus cave. Zora and Henry enter, and Henry extracts the sample from one of the eggs. Just as they finish, the Quetzalcoatlus shows up and attacks. Leclerc gets eaten alive, while Zora and Henry just barely manage to avoid getting killed and losing the sample. Henry falls but survives after hitting several branches and falling in the river. Zora, Duncan, and Krebs find him and proceed moving forward. The team waits by a landing pad for a chopper to come pick them up, but Zora wants to find the family first. Eventually, the 2 groups reconvene, but Teresa calls out Krebs for nearly letting her die, and he is not helping matters by pulling out a gun that he picked off a corpse in the forest. Krebs is ready to leave with the 3 samples, but the generators turn on and attract 2 mutadons to attack the group. The family hides underneath a nearby store, and they outrun the mutadons. Henry sees the chopper coming by, but they pass the island when they find nobody. He finds some flares and manages to draw their attention, but this also attracts the Distortus Rex, who destroys the chopper and everyone inside. Krebs tries to escape in a van, but the D-Rex stops him and devours him, leaving Henry to grab the samples. Everyone makes it onto a boat while Duncan stays behind to buy them time. The D-Rex eventually gives up chasing everyone, and Zora sees Duncan setting off a flare. They turn the boat around and pick him up. As the sun starts to rise, Zora and Henry discuss what to do with the samples, and she agrees with his decision to distribute the medicine without a patent so that anybody can have access to it.
Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications so that you can watch more videos like this.